A better way of life thanks to the Mediterranean diet. According to a new study, patients who adopt the diet, which includes fruits, veggies, nuts, and grains, were 30% less likely to have heart attacks, stroke, or die. And joining me now is Emily Pomacala from the Connecticut Academy of Nutrition Dietetics with more on how you can work the changes into your life. Good morning, Emily. Thanks for being here.
Shirley, I'm so thankful to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
We're glad to have you. Now, we've heard a lot about the Mediterranean diet in recent years, but earlier this week, the New England Journal of Medicine actually published a study that says there's really some health benefits here. Tell us more about that.
There's some big health benefits. Well, let's just take one step back. I mean, the typical American diet, we are seeing that research tends to indicate that excessive consumption of high-fat, high-sugar processed foods, it increases inflammation in the body. So over time, that leads to the risk of chronic illness and heart disease, which is the #1 killer of Americans.
Okay, let's talk about the Mediterranean diet. I had read that the best way to remember it is in the form of a pyramid.
I love
it. Goes on top, what goes on bottom?
All right, so what we're looking at in the typical Mediterranean diet, all right, is very much plant-based foods, all right? We have a lot of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, beans, and even wine in moderation, which is everybody's favorite part.
Yeah, because this diet obviously comes from that region, which is South Greece, Italy, Spain, and they allow olive oil and also a glass of red wine in their diet, so it's okay.
Absolutely, and they have the lowest incidence of heart disease in the world.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these. Obviously, you should go heavy on these. This is what is at the bottom of the pyramid, which is the widest part.
This is your new bottom, absolutely. You want to be sure to include that olive oil. So we're looking at about a tablespoon or 2 per day, which I have a little example for you here. And it's also very rich in nuts, all right? And the reason why this is heart healthy is because of monounsaturated fats, okay? That's what's in the olive oil and the nuts. And the diet is very low in saturated fats, okay? So Shirley, you remember saturated fats are in the form of meats and dairy products, okay? So we want to just eat less of that.
Now we also want to point out that nuts, there is fat in it, but it's the good fat.
It's the good fat, monounsaturated fat. Very good for the heart.
Okay, let's go through some other aspects.
Yeah.
So how much meat should we have? Americans are so used to their meat and potatoes diet.
I know.
How much meat should you have and how often?
Well, we're looking at about 2-3 ounce portions per day. And one of the reasons that the Mediterraneans are having such a great and low incidence of heart disease is because of the amount of seafood that they're eating, okay? That's a really big feature of the Mediterranean diet. Now, fresh fish is not available to everyone all the time, but we can still get the same cardioprotective benefits from canned fish. All right, so you have your tuna, you have your salmon. We can make tuna noodle casseroles, salmon patties, salmon burgers. There's a lot of different ways to do that. Typical way to remember your portion size. I brought a beautiful little meal here as an example.
This is a great way. It's really visual, and you want to tell us that we really got to scale back on our portion size.
Let's take a look at the meat, okay? So we have a deck of cards, all right? So typical to a woman's palm, that's your meat portion, all right? So think of it as a quarter of your plate. But the most important feature is fill half your plate with fruits and vegetables, okay? So unsweetened whole fruit. I have some berries there as an example. And then I have some chopped veggies sauteed in that olive oil with that good monounsaturated fat.
Yeah, this is really a visual. I think this is the size of the meat.
3 ounce portion.
And does that also include poultry as well, or really just red meat?
Right, so that's a very good point. My husband, not a fish person, but we still want to choose meats that are low in saturated fat. So you can have your chicken breast, you have some lean turkey, even lean pork is okay if you're not a fish person. But we can try to get that seafood in twice per week, really, for those cardioprotective benefits.
For fish. Okay, any other aspects of the diet you wanted to tell us about today?
Well, everybody seems to be excited about the wine, all right? So 5 ounces a day of wine per day for women, 10 for men is okay. But if you don't drink, I just want to let you know there's the same antioxidant benefits in 100% grape juice.
Okay.
So you're still going to reduce that inflammation.
Thank you very much, Emily, from the Connecticut Academy of Nutrition Dietetics. Thank you for being here. Really an eye-opener. I hope people at home get the takeaways from this. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Shirley.
Well, still much more to get to this morning. We're going to have another look at the forecast, and Bob Maxon will